Hey everyone, Corrie here, coming in to do a reading for this week's energy, along with the energy update that you would have received here on YouTube. And if you're on Facebook, go to my YouTube channel and you can check out this week's energy update, which is very much with the macro and the micro of energy. And so now I want to bring in a reading, so it does feel a little more personal. So when I first start to channel through this energy that's happening with this full moon, we have a full moon in Capricorn. It did bring up that relationship with shame. And it's so funny because not funny, it's a coincidence. It's not a coincidence, I guess, that I begin a new class starting on Sunday, and that is on shaming ourselves. And so the relationship with shame that we build up in our lives, or the relationship that we have with shaming ourselves into being non-existent, the parts of ourselves that are here to thrive into being the non-existent part of who we are, is that is the pieces and parts that have taken us as far away from ourselves. So the shame part of ourselves is the parts that is the farthest away from actually living our lives, but it is the most powerful pieces, aspects, parts of who we are. And so when I started to channel through this energy, I was standing in my kitchen, I was putting salmon in the oven, and I just had this sense of being shamed about food, and shamed about eating, and shamed about what I was going to eat, and about when I was going to just simply enjoy, a snack that, say, everyone else was going to enjoy, and being shamed for that. And shame doesn't always have the face of shame you, like making you feel bad with, don't you dare eat that. It is things such as, there may be a better choice. Maybe how about you have an apple? How about you have, a healthy snack when you're about to have something that is not healthy, that is something you just want to enjoy. Maybe it's a treat, but we don't realize how we are so pushed into the shame story, or how shamed we are throughout life, when it's made to appear as if it is just taking care of you, just helping you out, just trying to protect you, just trying to keep you safe, just trying to be there for you. I just don't want you to end up that way. I just don't want you to be that way. I don't want you to have to deal with that. And that is how we are shamed into not existing in our own lives, and shamed out of enjoying life. We're shamed out of enjoying life, shamed out of embracing who we are, or finding who we are, or discovering what we like, discovering the parts and pieces of ourselves that may find our way into discovering the things that we may enjoy in life. But so shame, when we live and exist from the place of shame, we live the farthest away from our light, the farthest away from our sun, the farthest away from our emotions, and we start to disassociate, we start to disconnect, we start to hide, we start to do things when nobody is looking that we really would love to be able to do in public. Don't you, stop talking, stop singing. Oh goodness, there's just so many. There is so many. And all of this that's coming up in this energy is speaking about having the courage to begin to move beyond the shame. It is about being able to bring forth the parts of the self that has not seen the light of day. And so there is energy, there's experiences, there are moments, there is aspects of yourself that are rising up, that are ready to see the light of day, or come into the light of day. But because we have not yet been there, it's like coming out from the hiding places, is that then you got to adapt and adjust to being in your light, adjust to be in this new set, about being this truth, and who and what this truth is, and how it feels to live in that truth. And so when we have been shamed into the way we exist, when we're shamed into our habits, when we're shamed into, is that we also then we create also the rebellious energy as well. And so if I were to live without shame, if I were to be able to do anything in my life without shame, what would it look like? And how many times does shame, the language used to create shame, continue to follow suit? It goes on generations and generations and generations until finally someone says, enough. Enough is enough. You will not guilt or shame me into being some version that fits your unresolved, unhealed life. And this is on a big scale. It is on a small scale. It is all around us. And so coming into a place of where radical self-acceptance is the ability to be able to not just have compassion for yourself, but to learn the power of kindness. What would it be like to be kind to myself? What would it be like if I could live in a world within my own mind and within my own heart where I am kind? And so the card that comes up is benevolence. And benevolence is a virtuous word. It is one of those words that I know I had to go kind of look up for myself and find what would be the true meaning of benevolence. And after all that I've learned, it was to speak to myself in the same way the divine would speak to me, with the same level of kindness. And so I see you. I see you. Even if you don't see you, I see you. I see you today. I see you beyond your pain. I see you beyond your stories. I see you. And so this beautiful card is really, truly about that of admiration, and how we can be in such admiration of someone who is without envy. Admiration without envy and jealousy allows us to truly be kind in our thoughts when we look into the reflection of another and think, wow, whatever got them, wherever they have been in their lives, where someone has cultivated this part of them, that they can fully be themselves wherever they are. I admire that. I need to find that. I need to learn how to be more of that in my life. Because the opposite of that is that sense of seeing somebody who's had that kind of ability to cultivate all the best of themselves and to live their imperfections, live their wild, their weird, their wacky, without judgment or shame, and to be allowed to be it. I know I got grandchildren who are totally living that, totally living it. And so that you get to be that self. And when you can look in, and so on the opposite of that is that which brings out the sense of envy, jealousy. You're going, well, if they only knew what it was like to suffer, they wouldn't be that way. If they only know what it's like to be hurt, or if they only knew what it was like it's like, you don't know if they've never experienced it. But what has been cultivated is more powerful than maybe where the hurt or where the judgment, where the bullying did exist in their life. And when we cultivate and bring out the most powerful aspects of self, then it doesn't get overridden, and we don't shrink and hide away because somebody else tried to make us feel a certain way. Shame does not become the weapon that destroys them. That doesn't destroy them. Being someone trying to shame you when you know who you are will never, ever work. That sense of guilting you into doing something when you cannot be guilted because you know a deeper truth, when you know who you are. And so that conditioning, that programming that has followed through in shame and guilt, that is what also keep doing to ourselves. We shame ourselves into a new routine, a new diet, a new habit, into getting to the workout, into who we think we have to be, into the body, and in the mirror, right? Lifting up our skin, pulling up our skin, oh, if I only, right? Moving about, finding every little flaw, every little thing, and every little reason why we are not living as that truth, but yet pushing the truth farther and farther back, pushing ourselves farther and farther back. And so benevolence is that radical self-acceptance, that radicalness that comes with, I can have compassion, all, poor me. It's like, no, there is no poor me. I'm going to be kind enough to myself to learn the power of unshaming myself, to learn to be a better version of myself that I can admire in another without the judgment, without the criticism, but with great appreciation for where I have been. And this energy, yes, it got all kinds of other things with it, but it has the ability to be able to allow us to see how much we have had these dualities of that have been in these battles, that we have been in these battles with ourselves for so many years. And as I'm speaking to you, I'm getting this image of of like, the soldiers at Christmas, like the toy soldiers. I keep getting like the toy soldier. I don't know why, but I keep having an image and I keep seeing like the toy soldier, the big top hat, the red with the little buttons going down, and that marching in line. Just get in line, right? Get in line, behave, get in order, become who I never got to be. You battle yours, but you battle you battle these things now. You resolve this in you, but I'll never fix mine. I will live through you, type of thing. I don't know. There's just something coming up that is just like this soldier. It's like straight line soldiers and just I don't know if this is coming in for a war or coming into a battle. I don't know what this is, but at this very moment, I don't even know what time it is, but I do know that it is July the 9th, I believe, is July the 9th. And yes, it is July the 9th. This has to be between 6 and 7 p.m. in the evening. And I just seen toy soldiers become real soldiers, and I just seen marching, getting in line. I have no idea what that's going to mean. It should not be in this reading because this reading was a reading that was coming, but for some reason it went from toy soldiers to real soldiers. And so this being at getting in line or marching towards something that we don't even understand, or marching in to fight a war that's not ours to fight, right? Like fighting a war within ourselves that was never ours to fight. So if it's that passed down generational, like don't dare be overweight, the struggle with food, the eating habits, we look better when we look like this. Don't wear this, don't wear that. You're too old, you're too young. Long hair is for young people, short hair is for old people. Get in line, follow the rules, get into this, and don't dare question it. Don't dare break away from it, but stay regimented to it. And you will walk into my war and you will fight my war for me, but I will not resolve it. No matter how much you try to become and change yourself to help to think that you're resolving something that's your own, that was never yours to fight, it was never yours to put yourself into, that is that the shrinking, the hiding is because you literally become the persona, the identity, the habits, the beliefs, the values, the stories of somebody else. And then you become an avatar, a puppet to the strings of somebody else's wishes and somebody else's desires. And when you become when you truly move into becoming you for you, and that you question those beliefs, those values, why am I marching into it? Why am I getting into alignment with this? Why am I marching into this? Why am I always trying to resolve this to be enough for somebody else? And so it's like still looking for the validation. Did I get it? Did I finally make you happy? Did I finally get there? No, because you'll never make anyone else happy. You'll never receive the validation that you're seeking when you're doing it because it is all for something else, somebody else, all because of an old belief, all because it's all a part of a old lineage of stories that are all corruptions of the mind that needed to be broken long time ago and needed to deal with the real issues and really look at the real issues in life and not just keep sweeping shit under the rug, right? It's the more that you keep sweeping it underneath the rug, but we'll create the image, put the smile on, dance to the music, be the person. All of those things right now in this energy are coming up. And so I do feel this sense of, it's that sense of inner rage, but it's not an anger. It's actually the awakening of inner authority. And this being able to bring forth or build that deeper relationship with my own inner authority. Do I really believe that to be true? This is where benevolence comes in, is the sense of kindness and what it means to truly be kind and what it means to truly understand, beyond just doing something because that's just what we do or that's just who we are. Is it truly the kindest thing that I can be doing? What is the kindest thing that I can be doing? If I could truly be kind, if I'm truly going to be kind, what is the kindest thing that I can be doing? And sometimes the kindest thing we can be doing is speaking a truth. And speaking a truth sometimes it's not the truth that feeds the ego. It's the truth that feeds the soul. It's the truth that feeds the soul. And when you speak a truth and you tell the truth, life changes. And this is where the evolution happens. So we have the unassuming Amara coming in. And the unassuming Amara she is truly looking back, and there's a bit of a smirk on her face. And where is she going? Where is she going? What is she up to? Sometimes the best thing you can do is to stay silent, is to keep things to yourself. When you have something that just feels like you are awakening something within yourself and you're building that healthy relationship with yourself, keeping it quiet and not sharing it with anyone and not feeling like not everyone is privy to all of your information or all of your excitement, all of your celebrations. Sometimes those silent celebrations are the things that truly allows you to stay with and contain your excitement, your enthusiasm before someone comes in and bursts the bubble with, are you sure about that? Are you sure you should be doing that? Oh, I don't know. I know someone who had that. I know someone who did that. And I know what happened to them. Do you want that to happen to you? Yeah. Everyone knows those characters. You're probably that character yourself. You've probably done that to people. I've done that. We've all done it because it is something that is just become what we do. And it's like when you stop and you start to really, truly move your awareness, move into new levels of consciousness, when you really start to shift that mindset, you start to recognize the things that we just did as, you know what? Was that ever really appropriate? Was that ever really right? Was that ever something I ever should have done? But we never thought about it. It was unconscious. But once this moves into your conscious awareness and you become aware of it and you recognize how much you don't like it or how much it has hurt to have your bubble burst or someone kind of ruin your parade, your happiness, taking away that moment of joy that you're having, then why would we want to do it onto another? And it's done in little accusations, little moments. It's not outright. And so what we're being told, I'm getting it. What we're being told is to be very aware of those little, like little gaslit moments, the gaslighting moments, those little unconscious words that have powerful impact. Those little habits that we have of those powers of suggestions that are said that have the ability to make somebody feel bad, to make somebody feel guilty, to shame somebody without actually guilting or shaming them, including doing this to yourself. Moving beyond this. And so the unassuming America, it's so easy to make the assumption of what we think is best for people and who they need to be. But in the end, no one will know you better than you will know you when you actually get to know you. When you find you, first you got to go find you. First you got to discover those parts of who you are. And so we're finding, moving into, getting to this point within where we are bringing forth this light, this truth, finding this way. And so it's speaking to us in such a way that just says there is so much that is the versions of us, the truth that is hiding is so much more unassuming. Don't assume you know the you that is waiting to come in and waiting to be seen or waiting to be heard, because the construct of the mind can very easily create another character, but we don't know. And so the card that's coming up to bring this all together. So the first card would be the mind, the second card would be the body, and now this is the spirit card. And it's the cosmic beauty, Zoran. And so we are moving into a great time of endings, of endings and rebirth, right? Like death and rebirth, and being reborn into or awakening to really the cosmic beauty is to live from our soul, is to live our spirited self. How many times have our spirits been broken? And so the broken spirit is the aspect of the self that is now the part that is coming to life. And if we can invoke and awaken the spirit again, if we can give space for the spirited being within to finally be able to live our life, to be in our lives, and to do it, to dance in the rain, to have fun, to enjoy the things that you have denied yourself enjoying, to give yourself the opportunity to explore the things that you have been afraid to explore, to try something new, to find your voice, to walk in the dark, which is something I did last week. My husband and I walked on a trail, and I would say he's like my vampire. He comes to life in the night. And he was going for a walk, and he was going to walk the trails. And I'm like, I'm coming. And then when I got outside, I'm like, why did I just agree to this? Who just agreed to that? Why? You can't go in the dark. It's going to be dark. You can't walk in the dark. And the whole way, for about 3/4 of the way, I heard myself telling myself to go home. You're afraid of the dark. You can't do this, shaming myself out of this experience. And about 3/4 of the way there, I stopped. I ran out of gas. I spoke the whole way. I banged rocks. I was making nothing but a racket and noise. Thank God he is patient. And I just stopped, and I've lost, and I finally made peace with something. And I sat and I cried, and I touched the hoodoos and touched the sand. I picked up the flowers, and it was like that little girl. And I knew, I'm like, I had spent my life chasing something and being afraid of something. And I'm like, okay, we can go down through that portal now. Let's walk down through those trees. Let's go the rest of the way. He says, no, you've gone as far as you need to go now. We're going home. I'm like, okay. I was silent all the way home, because on the way home, I was becoming kinder to myself. I was being nicer to myself. I wasn't telling myself that I couldn't do something. I had done something all the way while telling myself I couldn't. I walked, I overcome the battle, I guess. And that's what we're trying to tell. That's what we're saying. But it's not that you outright shame or guilt yourself, is that you have these habits, these patterns that keeps that parts of you, the courage, that where we have the courage and the strength, the truth of our identity stays hidden because maybe we're afraid to dance in the rain. Maybe you're forever chasing beauty because you didn't see you're beautiful. Maybe you're forever chasing the image of what others have because you can't see that you already have everything that you need. Maybe you're chasing the thinness because you can't see that you're already enough the way that you are. Maybe you're chasing health and creating even more unhealthiness in some of those addictive patterns because that version of you that really loves to embrace the things that embellish life, the joys of life, have always been restricted. And so you restrict yourself. You keep yourself from enjoying. You keep yourself regimented. You keep yourself on such strict routines. Because we thrive on these routines. But yet, am I really thriving, or am I keeping the consistency with the comfort that I have created that keeps telling me that this is who I am, but that's all of who I became? So there's a lot of truth to unpack. Or that sense of numbing. Your solution to numbing is something that creates the suppression, because you God forbid if you feel, God forbid if you actually feel something, or if you are become, the erratic one, or the questionable one, or the out there one, or that you actually have feelings, or that you actually express your feelings. Can't do that. Can't be broken. Got to be strong, right? So we get ourselves back into strong, because God forbid if we appear broken. God forbid if we appear imperfect. All of this energy is really telling us that it's really time for us to really look at the power and the influence, the power of the influences and how we have been influenced, and to invite in the light to open us up, to be opened up, to let light in to those areas of the unresolved, the unhealed, that doesn't appear to have any issues, until we start to look at how we communicate and how we speak to ourselves, and how we keep the patterns, the conditioning, and the programming very alive. So we're going to validate this with one last card. Fragments of you, hollow. When you find, when you return and find the divine child, the perfectly imperfect little child that existed, that was born into this world, and you break away all of the other pieces, all of the pieces that have been attached to you, all of the attachments, all of the connections, and then you get to know, you start to figure out that I get to now decide. I'll decide. I decide. And when you sit down and you decide with absolute kindness what really matters, and what is the most value to you, and who you truly are, behind all of the masks, behind all of the roles, behind all the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, what's possible. And so fragments of you is hollow. And this is the coming together, the putting it back together. And it doesn't ever go back together the way that it was. And it doesn't go back together perfectly. We always have those little broken pieces. And that is so that our light can shine out through. And through the cracks in our identity, in the cracks in ourselves, in the imperfections, light reveals itself. And this is where our beautiful soul, the beautiful spirit, creeps out through, comes out through, and reveals the parts of self that maybe have been restricted, held back, contained, kept in line, kept performing for long enough. And that's what we have. That's the reading they have from the everyday goddesses. So for all of my everyday goddesses, know that you are already more than enough, that I see you, I hear you, I feel you, and my love is with each and every one of you, because we're all walking a journey and we're all doing the best we can do with what we have. And the moment we start to become more aware, when something comes from your unconscious and into your conscious, and then you know, when I know and I know and I know, but I keep repeating, it means I don't know. What is it I don't know? What is it I keep neglecting, hearing, seeing, feeling? What is it that I keep repeating? Or what is it that I keep believing to be true that may not be a truth anymore? There's so much to be curious about and so many questions in the curiosity. I'm inviting you this week to really step into the curiosities of life. I send you so much love, and I will chat with you soon. Oh, and if you want to join my course coming up, it's all available on the event page on Facebook and also on my website. Go to CorrieThorne.Cameron.com or go to mteacademy.ca and sign yourself up. Come join me.